So guys, what's going on? I hope you guys are well. Hope you guys are staying safe. So guys, Caleb Plant says that he deserves $10 million plus to fight Canelo Alvarez. And a lot of people online are saying he's pricing himself out the fight. There's no way he's worth that. There's no way Caleb Plant should be getting that kind of money. I agree and disagree. Caleb Plant basically said that he's got bigger fan bases than Callum Smith and Billy Joe Saunders in the US, so he deserves a bigger slice of the cake. Caleb Plant finds himself in a great position because Caleb Plant holds a belt, the IBF strap, and Canelo needs that belt in order to become undisputed champion. So Caleb Plant finds himself in a great position where he may be able to get that 10 million plus that he's looking for, because Canelo Alvarez wants to become undisputed really bad. So Canelo Alvarez might be willing to give him that 10 million plus in order for Canelo to create history and become an undisputed champion. Anyway, they do say that you start negotiations high, and then obviously you come down to, you know, a more reasonable, you know, you start high. Like when you start negotiations, you're going to set your price very high. And, you know, if you can't get it, they'll come down to 9 or they'll come down to 8. But, you know, I think Caleb Plant is being smart. I think his team's being smart. I think most fighters would do the same. You know, Caleb Plant knows that's a very tough fight. Caleb Plant knows that Canelo Alvarez is a quality fighter. He finds himself in a position where he knows that Canelo needs him to fulfill one of his dreams to become an undisputed champion, and he holds the key for him doing that. So I think Caleb Plant finds himself in a great position where he can demand serious money. I don't agree with him when he says that I have a bigger fan base and I'm doing great numbers, etc. I don't know about the numbers side of things, but in terms of him having a huge fan base, I totally disagree with that. He said he has a bigger fan base than Billy Joe and Callum Smith. I actually think that Caleb Plant doesn't have a major fan base at all. Like, I don't think he's that big a name. I think outside of the boxing world, I don't think anybody knows who Caleb Plant is. If I was to go on the streets here in the UK, I don't think anybody knows who Caleb Plant is. I think he's totally unknown fighter. He's a good fighter, and if anything, Billy Joe got 8 million. If anything, Billy Joe was a bigger fight. It was promoted. Billy Joe did a great job in promoting the fight. A lot of people may look at Caleb Plant as a downgrade in terms of the name wise. Even though I do think Caleb Plant may be a tougher fight, because Caleb Plant's a natural 168 and he's also very skilled, but I don't really think he's got a bigger fan base at all. I don't think Caleb Plant has a huge appeal. I don't think Caleb Plant has the fan base or has you know, is a massive pay-per-view star where he can ask for that kind of money. But I think he just finds himself in a great position where, you know, he probably will get around that, and he probably will get overpaid. Because Caleb Plant I don't think, is earned anywhere near 10 million in any of his fights. Not even close. So I can understand why a lot of people think he's pricing himself out the fight. But I think he's being smart. To be honest with you, I think him and his team are being smart because I think they know they can get that kind of money. I think they probably will get that kind of money because, like I said, Canelo wants to become undisputed. But do I think he's worth that? I don't think so. And I don't think he's got a bigger fan base than Callum. I don't think Billy Joe and Callum Smith have a huge fan base either. You know, especially in the US. But I actually think they're more marketable in their country than he is in his country. Like I said, I don't think Caleb Plant, outside the boxing fans, anybody knows who Caleb Plant is. Like I said, I think he probably will get a good amount of money. I don't know whether he'll get 10 million plus, but I do think he'll get a huge payday because, like I said, I think he holds one of the pieces to what Canelo wants to achieve in becoming undisputed. He needs to beat Caleb Plant for the IBF. So Canelo might be willing to pay him 10 million, maybe 10 million plus. Who knows? Because at the end of the day, Canelo's going to be the one that's paying that. Because Canelo's the A side, he's the one that's going to be paying that. And for Canelo, we all know, has got a lot of money. And although fighters, they don't want to be overpaying somebody if they don't think he's worth that. But would Canelo be willing to overpay him just because he wants to become undisputed and enhance his legacy? Possibly. So this is why I think Caleb Plant has a good chance of getting that kind of money that he's asking for. So like I said, I think he's very smart because Caleb Plant knows that Canelo needs him if he wants to fulfill the dream or fulfill the goal that he's got of becoming undisputed. He needs to fight Caleb Plant, and Caleb Plant knows that. So at the end of the day, you know, I think him and his team are being very smart, and I think they'll probably get, they probably will get somewhere close to that, in my opinion. I don't know whether they'll get 10 million plus, somewhere close to that. You know, I just hope the fight gets made. I hope the fight gets made because I do think it's not going to be easy because it's two different promoters. It's not guys on the same platform. Canelo is in a good situation because Canelo won't mind going and fighting Caleb Plant on Fox because Canelo's not tied down to any promoter or tied down to any broadcaster. Although Canelo has made it clear that he wants to work with Eddie Hearn moving forward and he wants Eddie Hearn to be his promoter moving forward, I don't think it's a case where he's tied down to anybody where, you know, somebody can hold up the situation in him making a fight like that with Caleb Plant. I think Canelo is open to working with any broadcaster. And I think Canelo is only one of the few fighters that can do that because of his name, his popularity, the numbers that he does. Anyone would be willing to get Canelo on their platform because they know the kind of needle that Canelo's going to move the needle massively. So it makes a lot of sense for all the broadcasters to, you know, and Canelo will benefit because Canelo will most likely get paid huge amounts of money. You know, everybody's going to want to pay Canelo a lot of money just to secure him fighting on their platform. So I think Canelo's in a great position. And I think Caleb Plant is being very smart. I think his team and him being very smart because I think they know that they can demand that kind of money. Even though, like I said, I don't think Caleb Plant's worth that because he wouldn't have earned anywhere near that. What would be Caleb Plant's highest payday? Probably 1 million, 2 million. I don't know. I'm going to count someone's money. I'm not going to count someone's money. But at the end of the day, I don't feel that he's earned anywhere near that kind of money that he's asking for. I think it would be significantly more than anywhere near he's earned. But like I said, he finds himself in a great position, Caleb Plant. And I think he also knew that this was going to be the situation that Canelo and him were, you know, he was going to get that big fight, that big payday. So this is why I think his level of competition hasn't been the greatest. You know, Benavidez has been wanting that fight, but again, why would Caleb Plant want to fight David Benavidez when he knows that he's not going to get anywhere the near amount of money fighting Benavidez, and it's a fight that he could lose, and that Canelo payday then goes down the drain. So to be honest, it's a no-brainer for Caleb Plant. I do think he should be reasonable because you don't want to end up losing this fight because you're pricing yourself. Because if Canelo gets stubborn and said, no, I'm not paying him that, he's not worth it, then Caleb Plant has a chance, you know, to lose a huge payday, right? And a chance to become undisputed because it's not just the money. The money's all great and all of that, but it's also a chance to become undisputed. If you were to manage to beat Canelo, which as a fighter, Caleb Plant should believe that as a champion should believe he can beat Canelo, then it's also a legacy fight because it's an opportunity for you to get all the marbles. And also, if Caleb Plant was to, you know, price himself out the fight and Canelo, you know, goes another direction, that who knows, Caleb, you know, but someone like David Benavidez might become the mandatory of Caleb Plant, and Caleb Plant may have to fight someone like David Benavidez or get stripped, and David Benavidez might end up beating Caleb Plant. So I think it makes all sense for Caleb Plant to look to make this fight and get it over the line and be sensible. See, look, you start off, when you negotiate, you start off high. And I think Caleb Plant's done the right thing. But if Canelo's not willing to give him that kind of money, then I do think Caleb Plant should be sensible. Otherwise, he risks of losing that fight. And he's not going to get paid anywhere near that amount of money to fight anybody else. So you've got to be sensible. And also, I think all of the fight fans want to see an undisputed fight. They want to see Canelo fight for the undisputed. They want to see, Canelo and Caleb Plant fight for the undisputed. They want to see one champion. So it's an opportunity, and obviously it's a great opportunity to do that. So hopefully everyone's sensible. Hopefully they can come to agreement and make the fight. In terms of the fight itself, I read in the article where, they said Caleb Plant was asking for 10 million plus, that this fight may be seen as a downgrade from the Billy Joe Saunders fight. I do think it's a downgrade in terms of, I don't think Caleb Plant has the profile of Billy Joe. But I actually think it's actually as tough, if not a tougher fight for Canelo. I think Caleb Plant's a bigger guy than Billy Joe. I think he's a natural 168, and I think he's also a very slick fighter. The only problem is I think it's a similar kind of fight, unfortunately, because I don't think Caleb Plant has the power to really keep Canelo off. And I think Caleb Plant is going to suffer the same fate as Billy Joe Saunders. I just don't think he's going to be able to keep Canelo off. And I think that's the problem a lot of these fighters will have when they face Canelo, that they just won't be able to keep him off. And I think Caleb Plant will probably end up getting stopped or getting beat comfortably on points, just because I don't think he has the power. And I think Canelo's boxing ability, his head movement, his defense is just too good. And I think he'll make these guys miss, and then he'll counter. And then when he does counter, the chances are he'll either hurt them, probably force a stoppage, or he'll start to dominate and outbox them and win a points decision. His performance against Callum Smith was unbelievable. The way he dominated the 6'4" Callum Smith and just made him look like he was nothing. And then the way Billy Joe, was giving him Canelo problems here and there, but the way Canelo just, upped the heat and landed that huge uppercut, it wasn't even so much he upped the heat, it was just he landed a huge punch. But that's what I'm saying. That's why Canelo has got so much to his game. He could land a huge punch because of punching power and wipe you out or seriously damage you. Or he could do what he did with Callum Smith, is up the ante and just completely dominate and outbox you. So Canelo is just a complete fighter. He's just a, like I said, he's just a monster right now, and I don't see anyone beating him. So in terms of the fight itself, I do think Caleb Plant is as tough, if not tougher, than Billy Joe, because I think he's the bigger man. He's also very nimble of feet like Billy Joe, and very fast of hands as well. But again, unfortunately, he is, in my opinion, may suffer the same fate as Billy Joe, because he doesn't have the punching power to really keep Canelo off. Canelo's going to, for me, walk him down, and I just don't think he has the punching power to keep Canelo away, and that's a big problem. So leave your thoughts, guys. Let me know what you think about, Caleb Plant asking for 10 million plus. Do you agree? Do you disagree? What do you make of it? Leave your thoughts in the comment section below, guys. And guys, remember to please like, share, and subscribe to my channel. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.